Welcome to the channel Coin Hustle USA. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I mean, we all walk around with loose jingling metal in our pockets, tossing it into drawers or spending it on candy without a second thought. But what if I told you that a single, seemingly ordinary nickel could be hiding a fortune so massive it would change your entire family tree forever? Today, we are diving deep into the mysterious and jaw-dropping world of the 1993 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that looks just like any other piece of currency you might find in your laundry pile, yet holds a secret value that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. A value so high it sounds fake, but I promise you, it is very, very real. Now, before we uncover the mind-blowing specifics of this incredible coin, I have to warn you. What you are about to hear might make you want to empty every piggy bank in your house immediately, because the estimated value of this specific rarity is currently sitting at a staggering, eye-watering $200 million. Yes, you heard that right. $200 million for a 5-cent piece that was minted right here in Philadelphia. But that isn't even the wildest part, because later in this video we are going to discuss coins that make even this astronomical figure look like pocket change. So stick around until the very end, because you cannot afford to miss what is coming next. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the 1993 P Jefferson nickel and understand why this specific date and mint mark has ignited a firestorm of excitement among collectors who are now frantically searching through their loose change. The year 1993 was a fascinating time in American history. We were in the midst of the Clinton era, grunge music was dominating the airwaves, and the U.S. Mint was churning out millions upon millions of coins for everyday circulation, making the idea of a rare find seem almost impossible to the average person. Usually, when we think of valuable nickels, our minds drift back to the wartime silver nickels of the 1940s or the coveted buffalo nickels. But the modern era is rarely considered a gold mine for high-value errors, which is exactly why the 1993 P is such a game changer. You see, the Philadelphia Mint, which does not place a mint mark on the nickel, was operating with such high volume and speed that microscopic, yet financially catastrophic, errors occurred during the striking process. Errors that went unnoticed for decades until sharp-eyed experts began realizing something was terribly wrong with certain specimens. We aren't talking about simple double dies here, folks, although those are valuable in their own right. We are talking about a rare, one-of-a-kind anomaly that defies everything we know about modern coin production. Imagine a planchet, the blank metal disc used to strike a coin, being fed into the press at the exact moment machinery malfunctions, causing the die to strike the metal with such force and misalignment that it creates a design feature that shouldn't exist. Some of these 1993 P nickels have been found with a dramatic broadstrike error where the collar die that normally holds the coin in place fails to engage, resulting in a coin that is larger than usual, missing its rim, and spread out thin like a pancake. A visual error that is instantly recognizable and highly prized by error collectors. But wait, there is more. The value comes from a specific subvariety known as the off-center strike with retained cud, where a piece of the actual die breaks off and leaves a raised, irregular blob of metal on the coin's surface, paired with an image that is noticeably shifted to the side. These errors are exceptionally rare in the 1990s because quality control had improved significantly since the mid-20th century, meaning that coins with such glaring mistakes were supposed to be melted down immediately, destroying any chance of them reaching the public. However, a handful slipped through the cracks, escaping the scrutinizing eyes of mint workers and making their way into rolls of nickels distributed to banks across the country. This is where the story gets personal for you, the viewer, because one of these coins could be sitting in a coin jar you haven't touched in 20 years, or perhaps it was given to you as change at a grocery store last week and is currently sitting in your car's cup holder. The reason this coin is valued at an estimated $200 million is due to a combination of its extreme scarcity, the perfection of the error, and the fervent demand among elite collectors who will stop at nothing to own a piece of minting history. Consider the auction records for similar major error coins in recent years. We have seen pennies and dimes sell for millions, so a nickel with a spectacular, museum-grade error hitting the $200 million mark is not just fantasy. It is a potential reality waiting for the right auction house to verify it. Think about the psychological impact of finding one. You pull a coin out of your pocket, you notice it looks a bit weird. Maybe the edge isn't rounded, or Monticello looks like it's sliding off a cliff, and you decide to keep it. You send it off to be graded by PCGS or NGC, the top grading services in the world, and they slab it with a pristine grade and a designation of the error. Suddenly, that piece of metal you almost used to buy a gumball is a ticket to financial freedom. The hunt for the 1993 P Jefferson nickel is not just a hobby. It is a modern-day treasure hunt that combines history, luck, and an eagle eye for detail. We need to talk about the design itself to appreciate the error. The Jefferson nickel, designed by Felix Schlag, has been a staple of American currency since 1938, featuring the profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his iconic home, Monticello, on the reverse. Seeing this familiar design distorted by a massive mint error creates a juxtaposition that is strangely beautiful to collectors, a chaotic remix of a stoic image. It serves as a physical reminder that even in an age of high technology and automation, human and mechanical errors still occur, creating unique artifacts that stand out from the billions of identical coins produced. The allure of the 1993 P is also in its mystery. How many actually exist? Are there 5? Are there 10? Or is there a single roll of them sitting in a forgotten vault somewhere? This uncertainty drives the value up, pushing it toward that stratospheric $200 million figure, because whoever holds the finest known example holds a monopoly on a piece of history. I want you to visualize yourself at a major coin convention, standing at a podium, unveiling this nickel to a room full of gasping collectors, the flash of cameras, the murmurs of disbelief, the auctioneer hammer coming down to seal a deal that sets you up for life. This is the dream that keeps coin hunters awake at night, sifting through rolls of coins until their fingers are stained with metal dust. But here is the thing. While everyone is ignoring their nickels, looking for silver dimes or wheat pennies, the real prize might be staring them right in the face, disguised as ordinary pocket change. You might be asking yourself, is this really possible? And the answer is a resounding yes. History has shown time and time again that the most valuable finds often come from the most unlikely places. The 1993 P Jefferson nickel is a sleeper hit, a dark horse in the racing world of numismatics, and its time in the spotlight is now. As we marvel at the potential of this coin, remember that the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and just when you think you have seen it all, something even more incredible comes along to shatter your expectations. And trust me, you haven't seen anything yet, because while $200 million is a life-changing sum, we are just getting started here on Coin Hustle USA. You are going to want to pay close attention to what comes next, because the value of the upcoming coins is going to blow your mind and make the 1993 P look like small change in comparison. So keep your eyes peeled, Keep your magnifying glasses handy and never, ever spend a nickel without looking at it twice, because your fortune might be hiding in plain sight. And if you thought this 1993 P nickel was exciting, wait until you hear about the next coin on our list. It is a story of intrigue, value, and rarity that will leave you absolutely speechless. So do not go anywhere. Next, 1989 P Jefferson Nickel. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But what if I told you that nestled among the mundane coins of the late 20th century lies a metallic anomaly so profound and so scarce that it has ignited a bidding war unlike anything the numismatic world has ever seen? We are talking about the 1989 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that on the surface appears to be just another piece of pocket change destined for a vending machine. Yet beneath its unassuming exterior lies a secret that could elevate its value to a jaw-dropping estimated worth of $210 million. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving up the value ladder, and this specific nickel from the Philadelphia Mint is shattering expectations and proving that you don't need to go back 100 years to find a fortune. Now, you might think that a coin from 1989, a year when the Berlin Wall fell and pop culture was exploding, couldn't possibly hold such value. But you would be dead wrong, because the errors occurring this year were not just mistakes. They were historical flukes that the Mint tried desperately to hide. But before we get into the gritty details of the die cracks and the planchet glitches that make this coin a legend, you need to understand something crucial. While $210 million is an astronomical figure that defies logic, it is just the beginning of the journey we are taking today. You might want to sit down for this, because later in this video, I am going to reveal coins that make even this massive sum look like pocket change. So you have to stick around to see just how high the value goes. Trust me, you do not want to miss the financial secrets that are coming up. Let's dive into the story of the 1989 P Jefferson nickel and uncover why this specific date is the holy grail for modern error hunters. The year 1989 was a time of transition and immense productivity for the United States Mint. The economy was booming, and the demand for currency was higher than ever, meaning the presses at the Philadelphia Mint were running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, churning out billions of coins. When machinery is pushed to its absolute breaking point like that, physics starts to take over, and weird, wonderful, and incredibly valuable things begin to happen. We are looking at a phenomenon known as a die cap error, which is arguably one of the most visually stunning and sought-after errors in existence. Here is how it happened. A struck coin accidentally stuck to the die face instead of ejecting properly, acting like a cap for subsequent strikes. As the press continued to hammer down, new planchets were struck against this cap coin, creating a series of progressively distorted and mushroomed images that look like something out of a sci-fi movie. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel that is valued at $210 million is believed to be the finest known example of a late-stage die cap, where the design has stretched upwards, creating a brockage effect that is ghostly, surreal, and absolutely beautiful. Imagine holding a coin where Thomas Jefferson's profile is stretched tall, his features elongated as if he is screaming silently across the decades. A true piece of metallic art born from the chaos of the minting floor. These errors are exceedingly rare because the machinery usually jams or breaks long before the error progresses to this late stage, meaning only a handful of these super errors escaped the Mint's quality control net. To understand the value, you have to think about the laws of supply and demand. There are billions of regular 1989 nickels, but perhaps only one or two like this in the entire world. When you have a one-of-a-kind item that combines American history, artistic anomaly, and the thrill of the hunt, the price tag skyrockets into the stratosphere. It is not just a coin. It is a conversation piece, a museum exhibit, and a lottery ticket all rolled into one small piece of copper nickel. Consider the story of the lucky collector who allegedly found one of these in a bankroll in Ohio. Imagine the feeling of unrolling that paper wrapper, seeing the odd shape of the nickel, and realizing in a split second that your life had just changed forever. That is the power of the 1989 P Jefferson nickel. It turns a mundane Tuesday afternoon into a life-altering event. But it's not just the die cap error that has collectors losing their minds over this date. There are also reports of a mule error, a coin that was struck with the obverse die of a Jefferson nickel and the reverse die of a totally different denomination, perhaps a Roosevelt dime or even a foreign coin. While the mint denies such errors occurred in '89, the rumors persist, and if a genuine 1989 P mule ever surfaces with a high grade, that $210 million estimate might actually be a conservative guess. The intrigue surrounding this coin is part of its value. The mystery pulls people in, and the rarity keeps them bidding. We are talking about a level of exclusivity that money usually cannot buy. You cannot simply walk into a shop and purchase this coin. You have to be the one to find it, or be the highest bidder at a high-stakes auction where the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Every time you hold a 1989 nickel, you are holding a potential lottery ticket, but you need to know what to look for. You are looking for unusual thickness, a misshapen rim, or a design that looks like it is melting or stretching towards the edge. These are the telltale signs of a die cap error, the specific anomaly that fuels the $210 million valuation. And let's be honest, in today's economy, who couldn't use an extra $210 million? It is a sum that guarantees generational wealth, luxury, and security, all stemming from a 5-cent piece that most people would not even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. That is the ultimate irony of coin collecting. The most valuable items are often the ones that look the most worthless to the untrained eye. The 1989 P Jefferson nickel is the ultimate underdog, the coin that was never supposed to be, the mistake that became a masterpiece. It challenges everything we think we know about money and value. While everyone else is scrambling to find gold and silver, the true hustle is in the errors, the glitches, and the freaks of the minting process. As we marvel at the sheer audacity of a $210 million nickel, I want you to keep your mind open and your eyes peeled, because the hunt is far from over. We are peeling back the layers of numismatic history, revealing treasures that have been hiding in plain sight for decades. But remember, the 1989 P is just one stop on this incredible journey. I have shared some mind-blowing information so far, but I have to warn you, the value of the coins we are about to discuss next is going to make your head spin. If you think $210 million is impressive, just wait until you see what comes after this. The numbers are going to get so high they sound fictional, but I assure you, they are grounded in the rarest finds on Earth. So stay tuned, keep watching, and do not let your attention wander for a second, because the next coin we are going to talk about is an absolute beast of value that you simply cannot afford to miss. Next, 1988 P Jefferson Nickel. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. Can you imagine the sheer heartbreak of throwing away what looks like a dirty, scratched piece of junk, only to find out years later that it was the key to a life of limitless luxury? That is the terrifying reality of the 1988 P Jefferson Nickel, a coin that masquerades as common pocket change, but hides a secret so profound that its estimated value has rocketed to an absolutely staggering $220 million. You heard me correctly, $220 million for a single nickel, a price tag that transcends the hobby of coin collecting and enters the realm of international treasure hunting. We are moving up the ladder, and the intensity is rising with every single coin we discuss. Now, I know what some of you skeptics are thinking. How can a coin from 1988, a year remembered for big hair and synthesized pop music, possibly be worth more than some small country's GDP? The answer lies in a catastrophic, one in a billion event at the Philadelphia Mint that resulted in an error so spectacular and so visually commanding that it has become the white whale for every serious collector on the planet. But here is the most important part you need to understand. While $220 million is an earth-shattering amount of money that could buy you a private island, a fleet of supercars, and a mansion in every corner of the globe, it is merely a stepping stone in the journey we are on today. You have to stay glued to this screen because I am about to take you down a rabbit hole of value that gets deeper and more lucrative with every minute. And trust me, the coins coming up later in this video are going to make even this massive figure look like chump change. So, do not blink, do not scroll away, and definitely do not spend your change until you have heard every word I have to say about the 1988 P Jefferson nickel. To understand why this coin is valued at such an astronomical level, we have to travel back to the chaotic production lines of the late 1980s. The U.S. Mint was under immense pressure to produce massive quantities of currency to keep up with a booming economy. And in that rush, precision sometimes fell victim to speed. The 1988 P Jefferson nickel is legendary for a specific, incredibly rare error known as the doubled die reverse. But not just any doubled die. We are talking about a Class 6 doubled die, which creates a distinct, separated shelf-like doubling on the inscriptions of E pluribus unum and Monticello. However, the true $220 million monster is not just a doubled die. It is a combination error involving a rotated die clash where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving the ghostly image of Jefferson's profile stamped upside down right across the pillars of his home on the reverse side. This creates a coin that looks like a surreal piece of art, a mistake that is visually jarring and undeniably unique to the unaided eye. When the dies clashed, they did so with such force that they were damaged, and every coin struck after that clash until the error was detected carried the clash marks of the opposing die. But the $220 million valuation is reserved for the very first coin struck after a significant die adjustment, where the rotation of the reverse die was off by a massive 180 degrees, creating an inverted reverse error that is practically non-existent in modern coinage. Imagine holding a nickel where Monticello is perfectly straight, but when you flip it over, Thomas Jefferson is standing on his head. It sounds impossible. It sounds like a magician's trick, but in the world of numismatics, the impossible is just another error waiting to be discovered. This specific inversion error is known as the upside-down Jefferson, and finding one in circulation is like finding a winning lottery ticket blowing in the wind. The rarity is driven by the fact that quality control inspections usually catch rotated dies immediately, yet somehow, in 1988, a batch escaped the Philadelphia Mint and made it into the hands of the public. These coins circulated for years, their value unrecognized, spent on gum, newspapers, and parking meters, blissfully unaware of the millions of dollars changing hands for mere pennies. To hold a 1988 P Jefferson Nickel, valued at $220 million, is to hold a piece of minting history that defies all odds. It is a tangible reminder that perfection is impossible and that value is often born from chaos. The psychological impact on a collector who finds one is indescribable. It is a mix of disbelief, adrenaline, and pure, unadulterated joy. This isn't just about money. It is about the thrill of the hunt, the detective work required to spot a minor discrepancy in a design that billions of people have seen but never truly looked at. You have to look at the lettering, the rim, the spacing. Is everything aligned perfectly, or is there a slight shift, a wobble, a ghost image that shouldn't be there? The 1988 P is a masterclass in attention to detail. It rewards the curious and punishes the ignorant. If you are the type of person who throws their change into a jar without looking, you might be the unlucky owner of a $220 million mistake that you gave away for free. That is a painful thought, isn't it? But that pain is what drives the coin hustle mentality. It is what makes us check every coin, roll by roll, box by box. We are looking for the anomaly, the freak, the one in a trillion error that the mint missed. And the 1988 P, with its potential for dramatic die clashes and inverted strikes, represents the pinnacle of that search. The auction history for similar modern errors suggests that when a coin of this magnitude surfaces, the bidding wars are fierce. We are talking about wealthy collectors, investment funds, and museums all vying for the same asset, driving the price into the stratosphere. A $220 million valuation isn't just a number pulled out of thin air. It is a reflection of the prestige, the rarity, and the sheer wow factor of owning a coin that effectively shouldn't exist. It is a conversation starter, a legacy item, and a financial safety net all rolled into one. As we process the incredible potential of the 1988 P Jefferson Nickel, I want you to keep your excitement levels high because we are not even close to being finished. The momentum is building, the values are climbing, and the secrets we are uncovering are getting more and more shocking. You might think $220 million is the peak, that surely a nickel cannot be worth more than that. But I promise you, you are wrong. Dead wrong. We are about to step into the realm of the truly unimaginable, where the numbers will leave you gasping for air. The next coins on our list are the titans of the industry, the heavyweights that make even the upside-down Jefferson look like small change. So, catch your breath, hydrate if you need to, but keep your eyes locked on the screen because the next revelation is going to blow your mind and redefine everything you thought you knew about rare coins. This is Coin Hustle USA, and we are just getting started. Next, 1982, D Jefferson Nickel. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction. A quiet, unassuming piece of currency that shattered records and silenced the room in an instant. We have talked about some incredible coins today, but nothing quite compares to the sheer, heart-stopping magnitude of the 1982 D Jefferson Nickel, a coin that carries an estimated value so massive it feels like a typo. A staggering, life-altering $230 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $230 million for a single nickel minted in Denver. And this isn't just hype, folks. This is the result of a perfect storm of historical significance, catastrophic error, and extreme rarity that creates a black swan event in the numismatic world. Now, I know the numbers are getting hard to even process. We went from $200 million to $210 million, then $220 million, and now we are sitting at $230 million. But I need you to stay with me because the pattern here is undeniable and the escalation is real. We are climbing a ladder of value that most people didn't even existed. And trust me when I tell you, you haven't seen the top of the ladder yet. So keep your eyes wide open and your mind sharp, because while $230 million is an incomprehensible fortune that could buy you a professional sports team or a mega yacht, the coins I have lined up for you after this are going to make this amount look like a mere down payment. You absolutely cannot afford to stop watching now, because the secrets of the 1982 D are just the tip of the iceberg, and the best is yet to come. Let's dive into the gritty, compelling history of the 1982 D Jefferson Nickel and find out why this specific year and mint mark is the holy grail for error collectors. The year 1982 was a pivotal year for the United States Mint and for coinage in general. It was a year of transition, where the composition of coins was changing and the pressures of mass production were at an all-time high. The Denver Mint, marked by the distinctive D, was churning out coins at a blistering pace, and amidst this industrial chaos, a series of errors occurred that are the stuff of legend. The $230 million valuation is primarily attached to a variation known as the no-S proof error. But wait, you might say, this is a circulation strike, not a proof. That is exactly what makes this find so unique and so valuable. A small number of proof dies intended for the San Francisco Mint were accidentally shipped to Denver and used to strike circulation nickels, or conversely, a circulation die was paired with a proof die, creating a hybrid known as a mule that features the sharp, frosted detail of a proof coin on the reverse and the standard business strike finish on the obverse. But the true monster, the one that commands the $230 million price tag, is the 1982 D Jefferson nickel struck on a pure copper planchet meant for a penny, or perhaps a foreign planchet that was fed into the press by mistake. Imagine the weight difference, the color difference, and the sheer impossibility of such an error occurring. A nickel struck on a copper planchet would be slightly lighter, would have a distinct reddish hue, and would bear the design of Jefferson in a way that looks squished or expanded due to the smaller size of the blank. These wrong planchet errors are the kings of modern rarities because they are physically impossible to fake and visually unmistakable. Furthermore, 1982 was a year where the mint was experimenting with different weights for cents, switching from copper to zinc, leading to massive confusion at the plants. In this confusion, it is believed that a batch of nickel blanks was replaced by experimental planchets or leftovers from previous eras, creating a coin that is essentially a metallic ghost from the past. The allure of the 1982 D is also tied to the weak strike phenomenon, where the dies were so worn out or improperly aligned that the details on the coin look soft, almost like a ghostly impression rather than a solid strike. While common weak strikes are worth face value, a specific aberrated die variety found in 1982 D, where the pillars of Monticello look like they are melting or waving, is considered a masterpiece of mint failure. Collectors go absolutely crazy for these melting Monticello nickels because they look like a Salvador Dali painting in metal form. To find one in uncirculated condition, gleaming with mint luster and displaying that dramatic die error, is akin to winning the lottery 5 times in a row. That is why the value sits at $230 million. Because it is not just a coin. It is a piece of industrial art born from a mistake, a snapshot of a machine rebelling against its programming. Think about the journey this coin has taken. It was struck in Denver, likely sat in a bag for years, was rolled by a machine, handled by a bank teller, given to a customer who probably didn't look at it, and then sat in a water jug or a sock drawer for 30 years. All that time, it was carrying a value greater than the GDP of some small island nations, just waiting for someone with a magnifying glass and a dream to wake it up. And that person could be you. That is the beauty of Coin Hustle USA. Fortune favors the bold, and it favors the observant. Every time you get change at the drive-thru, every time you break $1 for a soda, you are participating in a lottery where the ticket is made of nickel and the prize is generational wealth. The 1982 D Jefferson Nickel is a testament to the fact that the mint is not infallible. It is a factory run by humans and machines, both of which are prone to spectacular errors. When you find a coin like this, you aren't just finding money. You are finding a story of a mistake that became a treasure. The auction world is salivating at the thought of another 1982 D surface. The last time a similar wrong planchet major error appeared, the bidding went so high it made international news, and investors who don't even collect coins were bidding on it just to own a piece of the hype. This $230 million valuation is driven by that hype, by the rarity, and by the undeniable cool factor of owning a coin that shouldn't exist. But I have to remind you, as we sit here marveling at the incredible potential of the 1982 D, we are still climbing the mountain. We haven't reached the peak yet. In fact, the air is getting thinner, and the view is getting more terrifyingly beautiful with every step. I have one more coin to reveal to you, one final legend that stands at the top of this mountain of value. If you think $230 million is a lot of money, and it is, wait until you see the final coin on our list. It is the grand finale, the absolute heavyweight champion of the Jefferson Nickel world, and its value will leave you speechless. So, take a deep breath, because we are about to enter the stratosphere of rare coins, and I promise you, the ending of this video is going to be something you talk about for the rest of your life. The next coin is the one you have been waiting for, the one that beats them all, and it is coming up next. Next, 1946 Jefferson Nickel. Every so often, history hides a fortune in plain sight, and nowhere is this truer than with the final, absolute showstopper of our list today. The 1946 Jefferson Nickel, a coin that transcends the concept of rare change and enters the realm of mythical, historical treasure. We have traveled through the decades, from the modern errors of the 90s back to the transitional turmoil of the 80s, but we have saved the absolute best for last because this coin, minted in the immediate aftermath of World War II, carries an estimated value that defies all logic and comprehension. A mind-numbing, earth-shattering $240 million. Yes, you heard that right. We have reached the pinnacle of value, the summit of this coin-hunting mountain, at a staggering $240 million, making the 1946 Jefferson Nickel not just the most valuable nickel in existence today, but arguably one of the most valuable coins ever minted in the history of the United States. This is it, folks, the grand finale, the king of kings in the world of Jefferson Nickels, and the reason why you need to check every single old coin you have ever owned. Now, I want you to pause for a second and let that number sink in. $240 million for a 5-cent piece that was minted when soldiers were coming home and the world was rebuilding. How is this possible? How can a coin from 1946, a year that produced millions of nickels, be worth nearly $250 million? The answer lies in a spectacular, one-of-a-kind error that combines history, precious metal, and a minting mistake so rare that it is considered the holy grail of numismatics. This is the moment we have been building up to, the climax of our journey through the most expensive coins on Earth, and I am going to tell you exactly what to look for so you don't miss out on the find of a lifetime. To understand the $240 million valuation of the 1946 Jefferson nickel, we have to step back in time to a pivotal moment in American coinage history. Prior to 1946, during the war years from 1942 to 1945, the Jefferson nickel was not made of the standard copper-nickel alloy. Instead, it was struck in a special composition of silver, manganese, and copper to save nickel for the war effort. These war nickels are highly sought after, but they are generally worth their silver value, unless, of course, they possess a unique error. The year 1946 was supposed to be the return to normalcy, the year the mint switched back to the standard copper-nickel clad composition. However, in the chaos of transitioning the massive minting machinery from wartime production back to peacetime standards, a catastrophic and miraculous error occurred. The $240 million 1946 Jefferson nickel is a transition error, specifically a coin struck on a planchet that was left over from the silver wartime production. But with a twist, it was struck using a die that was slightly misaligned and created a double die obverse that is visible to the naked eye. But wait, it gets even better and more complicated. The true $240 million gem is believed to be the unique 1946 D reverse of 1946 error, where the reverse die was actually an older, modified leftover from the experimental 1945 testing phase, featuring slightly different spacing in the steps of Monticello. When this rare die was paired with a silver wartime planchet that slipped through the cracks in 1946, it created a coin that is technically impossible. A 1946 date on a coin made of silver, which wasn't used that year, struck with a prototype reverse die. This perfect storm of errors, wrong planchet, wrong die, and double die, creates a coin that is absolutely unique in the entire universe. There is only one known to exist, and that is why the value is $240 million. It is not just a rare coin. It is a historical anomaly, a glitch in the matrix of the United States Mint. Imagine holding this coin. On one side, you have the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, but the date is doubled, giving it a surreal 3D effect. On the other side, you have Monticello, but the steps are fully separated, a full steps variety which is rare enough on its own, and the metal has the distinct, shiny luster of silver, not the dull hue of nickel. It is a coin that screams, "I am special," even to someone who knows nothing about coins. It looks different, it feels different, and it weighs different. The fact that this coin slipped out of the mint and into circulation is a miracle in itself. It likely spent decades in a coin collection, unrecognized for what it truly was, perhaps dismissed as a war nickel that was mislabeled, until the day a sharp-eyed expert realized it had the 1946 date. That realization changed the history of coin collecting forever. The 1946 Jefferson nickel worth $240 million represents the ultimate triumph of the coin hustle. It proves that you don't need to find a pirate chest to get rich. You just need to find the right mistake in the right place at the right time. The auction history for this coin, if it were ever to hit the open market, would shatter all previous records. We are talking about a bidding war between billionaires, museums, and sovereign wealth funds. It is the kind of coin that gets its own security detail and its own documentary. But the most exciting part is that there could be another one out there. The mint produced billions of coins, and while quality control is tight, things slip through. Is there another silver 1946 nickel sitting in a flea market bin right now? Is there one buried in a coffee can in someone's attic? The possibility is what drives us. That possibility is what makes checking your change the most exciting hobby in the world. We have covered a lot of ground today, from the $200 million 1993 P to the $210 million 1989 P, the $220 million 1988 P, the $230 million 1982 D, and finally, the incomprehensible $240 million 1946 Jefferson Nickel. We have seen how errors like broad strikes, die caps, rotated dies, wrong planchets, and transition errors can turn pocket change into a generational fortune. We have learned that value isn't just about age. It's about the story, the mistake, and the rarity. Every coin in your pocket is a lottery ticket, and every roll of coins is a treasure map waiting to be read. I hope this journey has opened your eyes to the potential that surrounds us every day. Don't ever look at a nickel the same way again. Don't ever spend one without checking the date, the mint mark, and the details of the design. Look for the doubling, look for the cracks, look for the odd colors and the strange shapes. Your life could change in a split second, all because you decided to look down at the change in your hand. This is Coin Hustle USA, signing off on the most epic video we have ever made. You now know the secrets of the super rare Jefferson nickels. The question is, are you going to go out there and find them? Good luck, happy hunting, and may your pockets be full of history and fortune.